All right. Go ahead, Zeke.
It's great. Just another round of that TikTok question. Are you aware of any communication between the Biden campaign and anyone who works in the White House about the president joining TikTok?
Look, I can't speak to any conversations on specifically on TikTok. We got to be really careful. The campaign 2024 can't. No, hold on. So we're not going to comment on any specifics, and so certainly we would defer to the campaign on any strategy. The CFIUS process is separate and not going to get ahead of what we're going to say here. And I would say that the administration is on record for supporting the Restrict Act, as you all know, something that came up last year, and it's a bipartisan bill, and it is indeed tailored and risk-based approach so we can protect Americans' freedom of speech, and that's what matters. As you know, there are folks here who are commissioned officers who certain people are allowed to have conversation with the campaign, but I can't speak to any specific conversations that are happening about this particular issue. Again, it's under CFIUS review. We want to be really mindful of not getting ahead of that, and also it's the campaign, so that is something that they would have to speak to. And the reason why it is banned on government phones or government properties, obviously devices, is because that is an act of Congress. That is something that Congress wanted to put forward to make sure that no government devices are used.
Were you aware before the campaign posted that TikTok? Okay.
No, I am very, very careful as the White House press secretary. I'm in a different in a different box than most, and so I do not communicate with the campaign on any strategy or anything like that. And so I'm just very, very mindful of that. I did not know. I knew as you all did.
And then a few follow-ups on the special counsel's report last week. When Ian Sams was here on Friday, he said the White House was considering releasing the transcript of the president's interview with the special counsel, which you all have objected to that characterization of that. Do you have an update on that review process?
So look, certainly I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. I know the president's personal attorney obviously spoke to this on one of the Sunday shows yesterday. So I know they're been responsive. The team here have been responsive to those specific questions. I just don't have anything to share.
Also, there's discussion about the president's ordering the creation of a task force to change policies around the handling of classified information in a presidential transition. Do you have any updates on when the president will create that task force?
So I don't have any updates on that particular question about the task force.
The president's personal notes from his time as vice president were among those items that were reviewed by the special counsel and the interagency and found to contain classified, in some cases, highly classified information. Does the president still keep a diary and notebooks now?
Look, that particular question, obviously, the White House counsel would be able to speak to more directly, but I do want to remind everyone that this was a 15-month investigation, and I think the outcome of that investigation, obviously, as it's stated, is that the special counsel has not found nothing to prosecute, and I think that's important to note. Anything beyond that, any specific questions about diary or anything like that, I would have to refer you to the White House counsel.
Lastly, when the president hosts the King later, they're going to be making statements. Why isn't the president, and given all of these questions about the special counsel and otherwise, why is he taking questions?
I mean, look, let's be clear. The day that the special counsel report came out, the president came out in the evening and and made a statement and took questions. He wanted to make sure that you all heard from him directly. And so I want to be really, let's not forget that did occur on the day that the report came out. Look, the president is looking forward to welcoming the King Abdullah, to the White House. He comes here every year, as you all know, during his presidency, and so he looks certainly forward to welcoming the King. So that said, and I said this last week, and I'll just reiterate, there are a variety of factors that go into decision making, that go into if there is going to be a press conference or not during foreign leaders. It depends on those conversations that we have with the foreign leaders and how that works out. Look, you're going to hear from the president. You're going to hear from the King later today around 4 o'clock. I think that's important. You hear directly from them. There's just not a press conference component to this. Not every trip, not every visit with a foreign leader has a press conference component. As I stated, King Abdullah has been here almost every year during this president's tenure, and that has not been the case. A 2+2 has not been the case.
I want to follow up on that real quick because you mentioned that on Friday, the German Chancellor gave a press conference across the street in Lafayette Park. It seems the White House here is the roadblock.
Look, that is something for the German Chancellor to speak to as to their government, why they chose to do that. I can't speak to that. There are two, obviously, when a foreign leader comes, there are two governments that have this discussion. They go through the process of what they want that trip to look like when they're here at the White House, and there are different various factors that play into that. And so every trip is different. Every trip is different. And with this particular trip, King Abdullah, every time he's been here, there has not been a 2+2. So I would remind you all of that as well.